everybody. Welcome to the Straight Out of BS podcast. Thank you guys for your continued support. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the Patreon members, anybody that's donated. It's never expected, so it's always super appreciated. So if anybody's interested in that, the links are in the description. I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction or anything like that. So on the count of three, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what year.
I am Mary Ellis. I went to Academy at Ivy Ridge in 2003.
Okay, and walk us through your childhood and like what led up to you being sent there.
So my parents got divorced when I was like 3 months old, and I stayed with my mom. And she got remarried when I was like 7. Things were just really strict, like super strict. And then when she had my brother, who was my stepdad's actual son, you could see like the difference in how we were treated, which really kind of like pissed me off because that's just how I am. But him being as strict as he was and me hating life at that house, and then the combination of hearing about Ivy Ridge from other parents, we all agreed to go. That it would be the best thing for me to finish high school, and that's just kind of, I don't know, it's probably the worst decision that we all made together in my whole life.
Okay. And what do you, were you transported or did your parents bring you up there? Walk us through that.
My mom drove me up there. I was excited on my way there, honestly, because I just was excited to get away from the constraints of that household. It was too much for me. So I was excited actually on my way up there, and my aunt went with us, and we were like listening to music and dancing and laughing and having a good time. And because I wasn't a bad kid, like I hadn't even smoked weed, I was still a virgin. Like I didn't sneak out of the house. Like I didn't even sneak out of my house until I was 25. So like we just had a good time on our way there, and then we all had that smack in the face of like, oh shit, where are we?
Okay. And did they tell you were going there before you got sent there? Did they show you any brochures or anything like that? And if so, what did they tell you it was going to be like? What did you think it was going to be like?
So they spoke with parents of someone who was enrolled and was an upper level. So they were told, like the same shiny story that the rest of the parents are told, like it's a great place, my kid is thriving, blah blah blah. I actually found the website. I looked at it, and it was convincing enough for me alone. And then I showed it to my parents because the photos, it seemed like, besides the uniforms, it looked like everything was normal. Like it was just high school that you didn't go home at the end of the day. You stayed there. That's what it looked like to me.
Okay. And what do you remember about when you first got there?
I was excited because there were a couple of upper levels, and my family rep, they took us on like a tour, show us everything, and then they sat us down in a room with like a couch and told us to say our goodbyes because we weren't going to talk to each other for a while. And I was like, it's kind of weird, but okay. And they had my like luggage, my suitcase or whatever, and they were like, you aren't going to need any of this. And my mom was walking out the door, and they were like dumping out all my stuff and starting to write all over, put your initials on everything. And I was like freaking out, like, what, why are you writing on all my shit? Like, what are you doing? And then the next thing I remember, I was getting taken from that room into a bathroom for a strip search and a cavity search. So that was fun. That was probably one of the more traumatizing things that actually did happen to me when I was there, because I was not familiar with any of that, like, activity, I guess.
Okay. Was it a boy or was it a man or a woman that did it?
A woman.
Okay. Do you remember them buddying you up with anybody when you got there? And
Yeah,
how long go ahead.
I had a Hope Buddy for 3 days, and she was extremely helpful, but also like everybody kind of hated her because she was very strict about the rules and like followed them and told on everyone for everything.
Okay. And how long after you got there did it take for things to fully sink in and for you to be like, where the fuck am I?
Um, Probably like the middle of day 2.
Okay. And do you remember what event like sparked that in your mind?
I saw someone get restrained in the hallway, and I was like, "That's okay. That's normal." Like that just had like, and nobody was reacting except for like 1 or 2 other people that were new too, and I'm just like, "Is anybody gonna help this person or like what?" That's the first thing that I remember being like, "Holy shit! I chose the wrong place to come to."
Okay. And how long after you got there did it take for them to put you through your first seminar? And what was your first seminar? Was it orientation or discovery?
I don't remember anything called orientation, but I do remember discovery, and I did go to that and finish that, but then I left shortly thereafter. So I really, the only thing I remember about discovery was that the towel exercise. Like I didn't want to do it because I didn't hold any resentment towards my mother, and like I didn't want to do it.
Okay.
I
Do you remember how long it was after you got there that they put you through that seminar?
like a month and a half.
Okay. And how long were you there total?
4 months. I got really lucky.
You what?
I got really lucky.
Okay. Did you get pulled?
Yes.
Okay. Um, what was the hardest part about being there for you, and how did you deal with it?
So I think for me the hardest part was not being able to be outside or listen to music. Because those are like, before I went and now are still like huge for me. I have to have that in my life or I'm just not me.
Okay. Were you ever restrained? Did you spend any time in intervention? And what
Yes.
about how about study hall?
Intervention, yes. And I just remember copying the rules from corner to corner.
Okay.
And then I remember one time, I don't even know what I did, but I had to lay on the floor with my chin on the ground and my arms out, and I just had to until they said so. I think it was someone else in the room in intervention did something wrong, so we all had to do it. Because I don't remember, I never done anything to like cause that.
Okay. Were you ever in the no camera room?
No.
Okay. Did you ever hear any stories about what happened to anybody in the no camera room? Were there like rumors that went around?
Not until the documentary. I didn't really hear anything about it. I didn't really participate a lot in the community of survivors because I didn't necessarily feel like I fit there because I wasn't there for very long and I didn't have as much trauma as anybody else did. So I don't know. I just kind of removed myself for a while, and then the documentary came out, and I was like, "Holy shit! I should
Okay.
reconnect with these people."
How was your program? Was it easy for you? Did you struggle to get points? Did you try to get points but struggle to get points? How was the program for you? Lilith, out of there.
I didn't work it, that's for sure. I didn't care about getting points. I didn't. I mean, the only thing that made me happy when I got points was getting a letter from my mom saying like, "Good job on getting points." You know what I mean? Other than that, I didn't really care. I didn't want to work up to get levels because I knew in my mind I'm not going to be here that long.
Okay.
So should I care?
So did you refuse, or were you just kind of like neutral?
Pretty neutral. In the beginning, I refused quite a bit because I don't, as a person, I'm just not an authority. Like, just don't, especially because of my stepdad. I just don't do well with people telling me what to do and how to do it.
Okay. Did you hear about or witness any grooming or sexual abuse from staff or students?
I mean, Miss Richie was definitely touchy-feely with all of us. But she had her favorites. And
Okay.
I've heard I mean, at the reunion and the protest that we had in April in New York, I heard some stories there. I heard, in the documentary, and then just being around her, it makes me want to throw up.
Okay. What was the worst thing you heard about or witnessed when you were there? And was there any positive parts to being there for you? And it's totally fine if there's not.
Honestly, I think the one positive thing would be that I learned, like, dang, I really don't have it that bad at home. I just really need to learn how to set boundaries and get some counseling and figure things out. But like the negative, I mean, the whole experience was negative from the beginning to the end.
Okay. Did they have you do any workouts every day?
Calisthenics
Okay.
every day.
Did they have challenges? Did you witness anybody getting put on any challenges or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you ever witness or hear about anybody being put on silence or like like essentially like where they couldn't say anything for
Yes.
extended period? Okay. Do you remember what, like, did you witness it or did you hear about it?
No, someone in my family, and it was actually two girls, someone in my family, and we shared like a classroom with Congeniality. I was in Valiant, and we shared a classroom, and they somehow were communicating non-verbally, and they were, I don't know what happened, or they passed notes.
Okay.
The dorm parents just got pissed off. They were both put on silence. And then there was another time when someone took off running in the snow. Everybody got put on silence that night.
Okay. Were you ever improperly restrained?
No. Well, I mean, besides the cavity search, no.
Okay. Do you have any lasting health conditions because of your time in the program? Like physical? Because we'll get to mental a little later.
I mean, I don't think it's program related. I have chronic migraine, but I don't think it's program related.
Okay. And were you on any medications before you went there? And if so, did they take you off your medications or did they increase them?
So I was on medication when I went there. They let me stay on my antidepressant, but I had Tylenol with codeine because I also have fibromyalgia and endometriosis. So I have 3 chronic illnesses that are like painful, but they never ever gave me my Tylenol with codeine, not one time. And I never got it back when I left.
Interesting. Okay. And did obviously none of your credits transferred, right? Did you get a lot of school done when you were there? If you could even call it school.
I mean, for the amount of time that I was there, I accomplished quite a bit, but nothing transferred back to my high school at all, except for they counted doing calisthenics every day as gym for me. So they gave me that credit.
Okay, interesting. And
I think they just wanted me to graduate.
yeah, probably. What do you remember about when you got pulled?
It was like the middle of the night. Someone came and tapped me on my shoulder to wake me up and told me to get all my stuff together and not to talk to anyone or say anything. And I just got all my shit together and walked down the hallway of the dorm, and my parents were outside with the car waiting. So that was pretty cool. But it took them almost 3 hours to get access to me.
What do you mean? How so? How do you know it took that long?
My parents told me that it took them that long. not back then, but recently, my mom described to me that they had to call the police because they didn't want to give any access to me at that time of the day, the
Did you get
night.
a court order? They had to get a court order? Is that what they did?
They like wanted a policeman to say, oh, okay, she can take her daughter.
Okay, interesting. What was that?
Weird to me. I don't understand why the staff wouldn't just be like, oh, you're here to get her? Okay, here she is.
Well, yeah, it's because they want to make it difficult for when people want to pull their kids out of the program because they don't want to relinquish control.
And my parents also had to write a check for me to be able to be pulled early.
So wait a minute. Do you remember how much that was for?
$3,500.
What was the reason for it? Just pulling you too soon?
The contract.
Okay, so what contractually, do you know how long you were obligated to be there?
Months.
What was that?
6 months.
6 months? Okay. Okay. So they must have signed a contract.
Contract was for 3 months. And then my family rep, there's notes in my file about her talking my parents into signing the 6 months. So, but at some point, my stepdad was like, she's not going to spend Christmas there. She's already been there for her 17th birthday. She's been there for Thanksgiving. She's been there for Halloween. She can't spend Christmas there. We're going to get her. So
Okay.
they did. They had to cut a check and they had to get a police escort, which is crazy.
Okay. Did they tell you why they pulled you? Or do you know why?
They just said they didn't want me to be there for Christmas.
Okay, so there wasn't anything in particular that sparked that?
Not that they'll tell me.
Okay, interesting. Did anybody go ahead?
I think it was like the 22nd of December when they grabbed me. So I mean, it made sense to me and I never questioned it.
Okay. Okay. Did anybody run when you were there?
Yes.
Okay. What do you remember about when somebody ran?
So I remember we were walking from the dorms to the main building, and there was a girl there who she took a whole lot of pride in being from Russia. And she's like, I can run through this. And she just took off. It took them a long time to find her, probably like 5-6 hours, I want to say. And I know that a couple upper levels took off after her and most of the staff, and we just kind of stood there like, what the hell did we do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we kind of all just froze in fear. But then we all got kind of in trouble for not chasing after her, which is kind of stupid.
You as students, were you an upper level? So you just a regular student got in trouble for not chasing after him?
Yes, we were, because I was closer to her in line than the upper levels were.
Interesting. I wonder if you had chased after her, if they would have still given you run plans or,
Probably.
Sounds like a setup to me.
Yeah.
It
surprised me.
Do you remember, let's see, were you guys on Cat 4, Cat 5 silence when there was that runner?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was probably 3 weeks before I left.
Okay. Were you there for the riot?
No.
Okay. How many people were there when you got there, if you had to estimate, and how many people were there when you left, if you had to make? It doesn't have to be like accurate or anything.
Oh man.
Just like ballpark.
When I got there, probably like 300 girls, and when I left, probably about 400.
Okay. And was there overcrowding when you were there?
Yes.
Okay. So what did that look like?
Well, we weren't supposed to be sharing that classroom, and they didn't have like the wall extender thing to put up. They just basically were like baiting us into getting in trouble. But I mean, other than that, and being uncomfortable when we would be like like every family in one room, I didn't really see any effects of the overcrowding.
Okay. Did they have people sleeping out in the hallway and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, but they always said that it was for like a disciplinary reason.
Okay.
Yeah, why are these people in the hallway? And the dorm parents would just tell us, because they did something wrong.
Okay. When you went home, did they try and push a life contract on your parents?
Yes.
Okay. So did you make one, or did somebody make one for you?
I know that my grandma just passed away like last month, and we are going through a bunch of stuff, and we found some emails actually of my family rep asking my mom to do the contract, and it just never. I never did it. She never did it.
Okay. So you were never contractually under a contract when you went home. They was just like they tried to get you to get one.
Yes.
Okay. What happened after you got home?
Well, I mean, my parents really did. They took one thing to heart and made sure that I didn't have any of the same friends anymore. We didn't move or anything, but I was just, forbidden from seeing certain people, which at 17 in a car, you're not going to stop me, right?
Yeah.
So that was really the only thing that, I mean, that was the only thing that really was different.
Okay. Did you ever get into any addiction or anything like that?
Yes. Actually, right after I left there.
How long?
So,
Like how long after you got out did you start?
maybe I'd say as soon as 3 weeks, because I already had the Tylenol with codeine. And as soon as I went to the doctor from getting out of there, I complained about them not working as well. And they wrote me a prescription for Percocet.
Okay. So you started on pills, and then did you just stay on pills, or?
Yes.
And I assume they cut you off eventually, or you ran out of pills eventually, or they cut you off, and then did you go to heroin after that?
Actually, no, I would just buy pills off the street or fentanyl patches, sometimes morphine. It just really depended on who had what.
Okay. And how long did you use drugs for? Was it like you'd use drugs and have spurts where you'd use drugs and then stop?
No, it was consistent for 12 years.
Okay. And what made you get clean?
Um, the fear of dying is what really got me, because I've lost probably 18 friends in the last, 10 years to addiction, and I've been clean for 9. So I'm actually really proud of that, but it's tough.
Okay. What's been the most helpful for you to keep you clean?
Um,
Or what worked for you?
so I had to go to the doctor and be put on Suboxone. A lot of people are on that stuff for a really long time, and I told myself, like, that's just another crutch, like, just get on it. Let's wean off. Don't be on. I was on it for maybe 11 months, and then I was done. But I don't know. My grandma made me a doctor's appointment, and I went.
Okay. Did you have to get like a support system too?
I mean, I had a really good support system, which is also the same system of people who helped me get my drugs.
Interesting.
Using it's really weird, because I would get Norco or Percocet or whatever from my mom and from my grandma and from people that I was really close with, and then as soon as I stopped, they were able to flip the script real fast. And it's very helpful to be surrounded by people that can use their drugs responsibly, and I don't have to want them.
Okay. And let's see. What have you struggled with the most as a result of your time in the program?
I think just the mind fuck of like what what was really so wrong with my life that I decided to go do this. And then also, like, when I was there, I could have taken advantage of my time there a little bit. I
In
feel
what
like,
way?
like self-reflection type shit, where I could have really like figured out like maybe there's something that I can do to like bridge the gap between me and my stepdad, or like, try to do some damage control before I go back. But I don't know.
Okay. Do you have regrets because you didn't do like that self-reflection and whatnot? Or is it just something that you look back on and you're like, dang, I wish I had done that?
I have done it since, so I don't necessarily have regrets, but I do look back like shit, I should have done it way sooner. Like,
Okay.
because it would have 15 years sooner.
Okay. And have you how's your relationship with your parents? Have they seen the program? Have you talked to them about your experience? Where are you with your parents?
I am good with all of my parents. I live with my mom right now because I got divorced last year. Um, the first thing I said that she said when I told her about this was, "Can you please make sure that they know that we did do it on purpose?" I'm like, first thing we're going to talk about is not parents, so just chill. She feels very guilty. She has watched it. We did not watch it together. She has watched it. And she requested that we watch the one that just came out on HBO together. So hopefully we'll get some kind of conversation through that too.
Okay. And if you could go back in a time machine and not go through the program knowing what you know now, would you do it and why?
Yeah. Yeah, because, well, yes and no. Yes, because I wouldn't want to go through the things that I went through or see people go through the things that they went through, like crying and being homesick and being upset because you can't even like express your thoughts to someone without getting in trouble, all of that. But on the no side, like, I've met so many amazing people because of it. So it's like a toss up for me.
Okay. And did you know right after you got out of the program that it was abuse, or did it take a while for things to clear up and for you to realize that it was abuse?
It took me until probably like 5 years ago to understand that any of my childhood was abusive at all, including before the program, during the program, and after.
Okay. And um, what do you think would have helped you instead of being sent away?
Um, I just really never felt understood. So I think and I never really felt like I fit in my family. Like I wasn't supposed to be there. So I think it probably would have helped if we could have done some kind of counseling, or if I could have conveyed my emotions to them in a better way, but it just wasn't something we did in our house.
Okay. And let's see. Is there anything else you want people to know about your experience, or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Um, your kid's gonna come home worse off than they were before they left. No matter how long they're there, no matter which one they go to, just don't.
Okay. And if there's any, is there, what would you tell somebody who just got out of the program and that's looking to try and understand their experience better? What would you say to that person?
Oh geez, that's a tough one. Um, I guess I would definitely recommend going to therapy like immediately, making sure that they have like a good support system, because depending on how long they were there, they have to be like reintegrated into what real life is, and needs to be like an easy transition. It's almost like someone in prison getting out, you know what I mean? Like they've been there long term and like they don't know what like Google is anymore, or you know what I mean? It's like that. Like I would just encourage them to find like a life coach or a counselor of some kind.
Okay. And did you ever feel like the program like brainwashed you? Like, did you feel brainwashed at all?
They tried their damnedest, but I didn't buy into any of it.
Okay. Do you remember feeling?
Oh,
okay.
sorry. Say that again.
Oh, I was saying, do you remember experiencing like a high euphoria feeling when you got out of Discovery, when you graduated?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you ever want to do a part 2, just let me know and we will make it happen.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. And anybody that's watched this far in the video, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below. It really helps the algorithm. Let's keep on getting these episodes out there and keep on getting these stories out there, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.